welcome to the show. This is our third show.
Always.
It's really early for Cassie. It's 6 a.m. right now over California.
Yes, it's early.
Yes. Thanks for getting up for us. It's 9 p.m. here in Taiwan. We welcome all our global friends. Hopefully everyone enjoyed our first and second episode, and I actually put the link in our live shows. You guys can check it out. Feel free to comment below and we will answer the question for you guys.
Yesterday, Sloan's my daughter, Lola knows my daughter, we went to the garden store. Do you have a garden store in Taiwan where you can buy plants?
Yes, a lot of them.
Okay, so we went to the garden store to buy some project that we're doing, and Sloan picked a cactus that she wanted to bring home. Do you know a cactus? Pokey everywhere.
Yeah.
So we get home from the store, I'm carrying grocery store, everything, carrying all the things in, and she's getting out of the car and she said, "Mom, hold this." So it had a little string, like a carrier on it. So I put it on my arm so I could carry it, carry all the other things. I have probably 60 pokey thorns in my whole body. And like on my foot right now, and I don't know how to get them out. I tried to get them out last night and I couldn't, and so I didn't sleep
also
very
still
good.
On your skin, you couldn't get it out.
Yeah. So because they're so small, they're like, oh, it's like a hair, you can hardly see it. So Facebook friends of Lola's or mine, if you have any advice for how I can take out the cactus pokey, that would be good. So I meditated this morning to center myself and prepare, but I keep picking out these little pokies. So
we always learn the lesson after things happen, and that's how we learn. Why we talk about supplements today is actually I got frequently asked from my friends about it. I personally ask about that questions because my mom is talking about my skin and stuff. So I think it's great to ask with Cassie to talk about it, because you're a science nerd who already saw these. You read a lot, the knowledge you got a lot, and also you just have a lot of knowledge about it. So it will be great to share your experience with more people, because this is a really frequently asked questions by a lot of friends and who just get into health industry.
Well, that's great, because I think actually even in America, I think that we have some of the same questions. So I like that there's a similarity between both of our countries and probably a global question. I love this topic because 15 years ago, if I go back to really when I started my wellness journey, I argued about taking supplements. I couldn't wrap my head around that. Everything has been created for us in nature and everything already exists. So why would we need to do something different to our body? As I was learning about food, I thought, gosh, you could feed your body right with all the food, can't you? Can't you just choose the right food? Here we have health food stores. Here we have health food sections in the grocery store. You have to Google search healthy recipes, healthy meal ideas. When did we separate the idea of health from eating? I don't understand. That makes no sense to me. So back then I thought, right, we eat healthfully, our bodies get the nutrients from that, and we should be good to go, right? I actually quickly learned the purpose of supplements and how vital they actually are, but also how important it is to understand which ones to take and how quality they are. At the fundamental, the reason we living on planet Earth now need some sort of supplementation, even you guys, if you live in a very lush place that grows a lot of quality whole food still easily from everywhere. Think of you live in a tropical location. Think of the tropics where you can go and you can sort of go out and get what you need, and it's very easy to get it. Even in those places, supplements are required. And the core of that is because we don't take very good care of our planet, but we're depleting the nutrients that are in the soil content, which feeds the food that we grow. So by the time it flowers and grows the food, we're getting significantly less nutrients than we used to. A story about that. My grandma always had she had chicken, she had a huge garden, she had berries growing everywhere. And I loved to just run into the garden. I'd love to help her pick things, and I would just eat it straight out of the ground. I'd eat the Swiss chard straight out of the ground and the spinach out of the ground, and I'd pick the berries off the bush without, washing them first. And they're pokey too sometimes. And it was fresh, and it was full, and it was bountiful and great. The quality of that food, which mind you, we didn't talk about organic then because we didn't need to necessarily. The quality of that food and the quality of the food that I could go get right now is not even close to the same. And that's sad. A couple things about that. So the way that we live and the way that we build everywhere for people to live and build new cities and stuff like that, our topsoil is getting depleted quicker than it could ever create new, because the density of the topsoil can take almost 1,000 years to recreate. That period of time is not going to ever affect generations. Combine that with the pollution, the way we live our life with the pollution, factories, cars, things like that, and the toxicity that we're putting into our environment out all the time, that our bodies are then absorbing. The plastic that's consuming the ocean and suffocating literally the ocean. It's disrupting the life cycle and also massively impacting one of our largest oxygen sources. We're not only depleting our resources faster than we can fix the problem, we're also over-toxifying our bodies. Our body's number one job is to keep us alive. So the problem is compounded. The only way for your body to get everything that it needs now is to supplement the right way, so it can absorb better what it's already getting and use it for better. Also fill in the deficiencies, because regardless of how healthy we are as individuals, there are so many factors outside of us that are going to impact our health. We all need some sort of supplements. Even our infants coming out need supplements, which you would think is crazy, right? This perfect body is coming out. It should already have everything that it needs, because that's how the human body is designed. And it does, but we've already started to disrupt what's in our milk supply that feeds the baby, or if we're feeding it with something else because we need to supplement. Does that help explain a little bit about why? Your favorite question is mine too.
And I actually that just refer back to what we talked about before. The food back in 2000 or 5,000 ago is different from what is it right now. So the same name of the weeds are different. This is just combine the thoughts we talked about it before. And with this idea, I think about the book Sapiens. That's why that is a great hit of the book, talking about the human history. That is so important because it's different. That's why the way they live and the way now it's so different. The obesity issue and also the chronic disease issues that comes up so quickly this half century, all related. You explain well about why supplements. It's so confusing right now. The news here, the advertising here, the commercial people here. There are a lot of people just want to make money. There is one commercial that I really not a fan of it. So they're like, hey, you guys are getting older and you know now is a older society. Oh, you just eat this calcium and then you can get your bones well and your muscle well. But that is not true as a coach perspective. We know you have to train your muscle to retain them. So I just want to ask more questions for the confusing generation right now. You talked about why, then how we choose, how to.
Isn't this such a good, bigger conversation? Because there's so much to say about, which is why I continue to read the books. The place to start is, and we have, Lola, it's different here, but we have the same thing. One of the things that really makes me mad is that the United States has really low standards for, gosh, all things when it comes to food. You could take European Union, for example, and their standards are significantly higher. We have companies, and they're also in Taiwan too. So there are companies that make products and they're available for sale in the United States, make the same product available for sale in the European Union. But that company in Europe has to follow their standards. But in the United States, they make it cheaper, more fillers, and they follow the United States standards. You could put the products next to each other, same company, same product, but they're following the standards of the country. So that just makes me so mad, because if you know better, you should do better, I think. And you should help other people do better. But money is money, like you said, right? I think it's very important to educate yourself a little bit when you start. I'm a big advocate that if you're going to supplement anything in your life, you should really try to do the best that you can, because you're adding a cost, an expense, you're adding something else to your body to process, a thing in your regimen. A lot of people don't even take their vitamins because they can't get in a routine to do that. So there's things that matter just in life, right? If we're adding something, then we need to make sure it's premium, if you will. So that way you're maximizing that extra dollar that you're spending that you're not spending on something else. Okay, that's kind of how I look at it. There are millions of choices. I always say, look at the integrity of the company. I'll go back to my example. There's not that many companies that own all the other companies. It's kind of easy to see how they all filter up. Mm-hmm. Those companies are making products in my country, in your country, in the European Union, and all these other places. I tend to look at those companies and kind of quickly dismiss them because their integrity is not intact, in my opinion. Because they're making the product to poison me, but they're making the product to do something better in the European Union. Like, I can't trust you. That's just how I feel. I used to buy my core supplements that I knew that I was getting started with. There were about 15 from lots of different places. Again, I had to go to the health food store because that's separate than the grocery store here where you get food. So I had to go to the health food store. I found a couple of other places online that I liked the quality of their products, and I would have them shipped to my house. So I was shopping at multiple different places to get these, and almost none of them were from the same brand. Then I became educated about direct sales. That was a big thing for me because I didn't actually really know about it or understand it at first. I don't know if this is true for all companies, but I know it's true for the one that I buy most of my products from. I learned that because my products don't have to sit on a shelf somewhere and be shelf stable, the quality of my product is so much better because most of the money is going back into the right place, sourcing sustainably, which also helps our resource problem that I was talking about earlier, which also helps us source things indigenously, which is super important, and making sure that we have research and development in terms of reaction, toxicity, safety, all of those kinds of things, to ensure that when supplementing, you really are maximizing those benefits. I've turned to direct sales as the right company for me. They don't make all the products that I use. So in that case, I still have these independent places that I'll go get a product. Like you said about calcium, most people don't know that not only do they have to incorporate the movement, but you actually need magnesium to absorb calcium in your body. So we overprescribe calcium to people. Really, they need more magnesium first to see if they need more calcium, because if they are eating healthfully, they probably are getting the calcium that they need. They just can't absorb the calcium that they're getting. Their body's getting rid of it or depositing it. Now, I know all that stuff from reading. Yes, that's true. So that's a little bit about how to choose. Is really, for me, first is like, look at company integrity. I know you go to the store and there's a wall of the same thing, or people are throwing all kinds of things at you. How do you really compare unless you're an expert? So I look at company integrity. That's the first thing. And if you don't know how to do that, then just ask some questions or Google or look online, stuff like that. I don't entirely go by labels. I'm going to do some stuff on this too, Lola. So I'll share with you when we can work together. Maybe we can have this conversation because labeling's different in Taiwan than it is in America. But a lot of people go by what the label is on the package in terms of if it has an extra special fancy label like organic or non-GMO or these extra fancy labels, which in America is a huge business, huge. You're not always getting what you think you are. And so I'm not I read the label to know what's in it, but I care first about the integrity of the company before I would buy their products. And then the second thing for me is I really would choose direct sales over buying something off the shelf in any case now, because I've educated myself about the industry and the quality that's available because of that. The third thing is then figuring out what's right for you.
I've been through that. I go to the store and organic, okay, I'll get this one. But now I learn when they say organic is not necessarily organic. I think that's why I love talking to you and share what mistakes we already been through, for the people who just start seeking it can have less confusion.
I hope so. I mean, I definitely hope. That's why I read all these books. You guys, I would read the books anyway, but I do hope that it's to share with, because I remember when I first started my journey, it was I would read that one thing and that would lead me to watch this one thing. And, it just helped me build. And my objective always in sharing, Lola, is to give people the information where we've sort of, gone through some stuff so we can give our hindsight, but then say, okay, hey, I hope this gives you the confidence to go get a little bit more information on your own so you can make your own decision, because I think that's important too. But here we have a different problem also. We have farms that can't afford to get certified organic or don't jump through all those hoops. So we have high quality food you could be buying, but people aren't buying it because they don't think it's certified organic, but it's higher quality, more organic than the neighbor farm. There's politics in every business, right? And there's definitely politics in food, you guys, a lot. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about where to start. I'll just say this first. If you have health issues, you need to talk to your doctor. I have a lot of respect for medical professionals, but remember that a traditional doctor is not necessarily an expert in nutrition. Here in the programs that people go through in the United States, they spend very little time in nutrition. Just because you go to your doctor and you have an ailment or you have a health issue and you want to talk to them about nutrition, they might not be the right fit for you, and that's okay. Sometimes they will be. But if you have something, you really have to go talk to your doctor, especially when something is coming out and revealing itself in your body already versus lying dormant. It's really speaking up. It's been in your body and your body's been trying to give you signs, but they've been subtle. And now finally the body's saying, hey, look at me, pay attention to me, I'm a problem. Really important that you deal with that. Also, if you're on medication, certain supplements can get in the way of other things. So super important to talk to somebody that you can partner with. And my thing is find that person that you can trust. For me, one of those people has always been my chiropractor. My first chiropractor, who I fell in love with as my wellness professional, passed away. I finally, a year and a half later, found another one, and she's my partner. She's the person I can go to and I can say, if you told me I had to take this right now, I would. If you told me I had to give my daughter this thing right now, I wouldn't even second guess you. So find your person. And if that's overwhelming and daunting, then I say just start. Just start somewhere and don't beat yourself up about it. Couple key things about supplements I want you to pay attention to. Places have Costco's and stuff like that. Really important to understand if you're going to take pills, read a little bit of what's going on in the label, okay? Because you can understand the pill form of things sometimes is loaded with a bunch of other stuff. Your body can't even break down the pill in the first place. So don't go to Costco, don't go to the drugstore and just buy the first few things you see, because you're probably harming your body more than just it not having it in the first place. That's what I would say about, supplements in general. I want to talk to you about when I was first starting to get to know this, and before I'd really increased my supplement regimen. A supplement that I always took and I still take today is called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is actually a derivative of the plant process. It creates this grass-like consistency, and it almost looks like it's black and dark. It's actually like really, really dark green. It's phytonutrients and it's highly concentrated, but it helps oxygenate the blood and do a lot of other things, purify your insides and whatnot. So I've always drank chlorophyll. I put this in water. That was one of the first things I learned about. You will instantly feel better in your body, and there's really quality nutrients that you're getting in that. So that's a supplement that I've always had in my life for the last 15 years. And then I started drinking a shake back like 12 years ago or something like that. Didn't always have the best shake options. I started making smoothies first, and then I would start to add in certain kinds of superfoods and a powder form of protein, primarily because I was vegan and I needed to supplement my protein, but also to be able to pack in nutrients that I knew I wasn't going to get throughout the day, in terms of, because the nutrient content is lower, the amount of food you'd have to chop is like insane. That's like a full-time job, just chopping all that food. So I started supplementing with a protein powder and a greens supplement, which had a bunch of different stuff in it. And it's funny that we're having this conversation now, Lola, because I remember when I started with my first greens powder, being really mad because there was a question I had about the quality of the ingredients that I couldn't get. Like, I went to the website, I couldn't get the information, I called and I couldn't get the information, and I was so mad because I wanted to know if this thing I was buying from them that was, you know, like $50, and then I was putting it in my thing every day in my body, if it was what I thought it was. Nobody would answer me, and I was super mad about that. Here's the best place to start from a protein situation. We want to avoid anything that we're putting into the body that's going to cause stress on the body. So we don't want to cause inflammation. We don't want to cause cortisol levels to rise. We want to do our best we can to give the body supplements and nutrients that the body can absorb, not put more pressure on the body, stuff it can't break down, or issues that it's going to cause throughout the body. So when adding a protein source, try to keep it a vegan protein source, a non-dairy protein source. That's really important because you don't know, unless you've gone through extensive testing like Lola and I have, you don't know how certain things are going to affect you. So if you just start putting in whey protein or something like that, and the body is not happy, now you're spending more money, your body's more stressed out, you're frustrated, you're gonna throw out the supplement game altogether and not be happy. So start from a gentle base, see how your body feels, go from there to add some things. So I recommend a vegan protein source always. Most of the vegan proteins I've had before tasted like sawdust. Not that I've had sawdust, but you know, you smell stuff and that's how you like get the taste of it. Like sawdust, no doubt. It was disgusting. So it is important that it tastes good. Any type of supplement that you're going to have, you want to make sure to avoid unnecessary additives. You do not need to have any artificial colors in your food ever, 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 especially in your supplements. I do not care what color it ends up looking like. It could be the weirdest gray color ever. If it doesn't have artificial color, good. If it doesn't have artificial sweeteners, that's very important as well. And you want to find as little preservatives as possible, which again, why a direct sales environment is actually better for you than something that has to live on a shelf, or even, you guys, Amazon. We all order Amazon all over the world, right? Everybody in the world has access to Amazon Prime. Jeff Bezos, one smart man. Here's the thing. Just because Amazon can sell it doesn't mean you need to buy it from Amazon, because Amazon companies that they pull products from, you have no idea how long that protein powder has been sitting in that person's garage that's getting shipped out to you. You have no idea. That to me is also really important, like having a concentration and some sort of control around what you're going to end up with. Those are the key things about buying protein powder. Now, if you're going to do it, let's do it the best way possible. So for me, we're going to talk about Arbonne, the company we've talked about before, Lola. For me, that's Arbonne's protein. The reasons is not just one. Here's some things that I really love. A, if you're adding protein into your life, you want to make sure that it's a complete amino acid profile. You're not going to know what that means if you don't know anything about health. You're not going to know what that means. You're not going to go research it and try to figure out what all the building blocks are, but it goes back to the company integrity. So look for something that explains that, not just vegan, but let's look for something that explains that it's got the complete amino acid profile, okay? That's gonna be really key. Let's avoid soy altogether. I know that's hard in Taiwan. I ate soy for a lot of years. My mom also got breast cancer the same year that I was consuming a lot of soy. There's a problem with the food quality, no different than we're talking about organic, non-organic, and all the hoopla. You got to know what you're getting. So unless you're really clear that the soy that you're getting is not genetically modified or not, that it's not processed in a certain way, you should probably avoid it because it is going to mess up hormones in your body. And you won't know it until eventually you know it. I drink a protein shake 1 to 2 times a day. I don't just pour the powder in a liquid. I add a bunch of vegetables and fruit, and I add healthy fat in it as well, creating a hormonally balanced meal. Remember I told you I was mad about a greens supplement that I was adding before? This is my favorite. This is Arbonne's Green Balance. Do we have this in Taiwan, Lola?
Yes.
We have this in Taiwan,
I love
right?
that too.
What's important about this is where it comes from and where our sourcing comes from. The nutrients that are in here are not only the highest quality, but also come from sources we can trust globally. 37 different fruits and vegetables, reds, yellows, blues, greens, and plant-based omega acids. We can talk about omega fatty acids a different day maybe, but that is a supplement that is very important to take. You don't have this in Taiwan. If you're in America or some of the other countries, this is really important. This is a prebiotic and a probiotic. This is for your gut health and digestive enzymes. What I love in here is, from a supplement perspective, Lola, is that at least here in America, it might be different a little bit throughout the world, but the enzymes that are in here are pretty much all digestive enzymes that we need because the food quality change and because of the change in evolution in our bodies. So we need these enzymes to break down food. The source of probiotic, the strain of probiotic, is Bacillus coagulus, and it's a very important strain for everybody's gut health, which helps our immune system, our brain function, honestly, everything. Supplement with a protein powder, supplement with a greens powder, supplement with a probiotic. That the important part about this pairing, which is why it's one that I choose, is that it contains the prebiotic with it, which not only helps its effectiveness, but it also helps serve your existing gut. You have to have those paired together in order to have max success. So that's important. And again, these are things I was buying from all kinds of other places before. This is actually probably one of the products I'm most passionate about. They're called Energy Fizz Sticks. So will you get some energy? Sure. The idea in really what's in this is not just energy. The idea really is giving your body some B12, which we all need. It also has adaptogens, a conversation for a different day, which helps the body respond to stress because they're herbs that are grown in stressful environments. And it contains lots of antioxidants. So this little stick literally does what like 5 other things I used to take does, in a better, more effective, cleaner way. So to me, I don't care if you need energy or you don't need energy, everybody needs to take this. I'm very passionate about this. A non-Arbonne product real fast that I also take every day, and I recommend everybody take this. Hopefully Arbonne will listen to me one day complain that we need a magnesium supplement, but this is the brand that I take right now. It's called Calm. This is a magnesium supplement, and there's a lot of reasons to take that, but we can talk about that part and dive into a different conversation. So those would be the core things I would say. There's other things that I take from Arbonne, not from Arbonne, but those are the core. If you're going to do something, I would say do those 4 things if you can. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I learned so much today. Clear a lot of confusion finally.
I hope so. Yeah. And we should just continue the dialogue, because I will say that this is we just scratched the surface and there is a lot to talk here. So I'd love to get people's questions so we can answer some specifically for sure.
Sounds great. So people, please leave your questions here and then we will be back. Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.